Welcome to ZEISS INSPECT Optical 3D. In this video, I'll show you how easy it is to import data. We'll talk about supported data formats and different import options. If you want to try ZEISS INSPECT Optical 3D, take a look at the description below. There, you'll find links to download the software, request a free trial, and download training data. ZEISS INSPECT Optical 3D supports lots of different formats. For CAD data, for example, you can import IGS and STEP files. And for measuring data, you can import STL and G3D files and many more. To get a list of all supported file formats, please check the tech guide. To access the tech guide, you can use the question mark under Help and click the software function. In this case, the import. Let's start by importing CAD data. You can either use File, Import File to import data, or you can drag and drop it into your project. Whenever you import data, the software opens the Import dialog. Here, you'll have different options depending on the type of data and the elements that are already in your project. In this case, I can create a new part, add the CAD as a fixture, or add the data to the clipboard. We'll talk more about import options a bit later. First, let's talk about import templates. Here on the right, you see a description for the selected import template. Let's take a closer look at it. You can use Edit Template to look at it and change it. When you import CAD data, the software converts the CAD into a triangulated mesh in order to compare it to the measuring data. To do that, you need to specify the triangulation parameters. The most important one is the mesh resolution under triangulation. The mesh resolution should correspond to the density of the measured mesh. The import filter is helpful when you're working with extensive CAD files. You can use it to include or exclude certain elements of the CAD. This can speed up the import process. One thing I want to point out here is that ZEISS INSPECT Optical 3D also supports the import of PMI data, which can speed up your inspections tremendously. If you want more information, check out the Inspect GD&T Analysis e-learning. But back to our import template. This default import template usually leads to good results, but feel free to adjust it if it doesn't work for your applications. For more information about the different templates, look at the tech guide. Now, back to the two import options that are relevant in this case: New Part and Clipboard. Add as Fixture is part of our VMR functions for automated measuring systems in ZEISS INSPECT Optical 3D. If you use the import option Clipboard, the data is saved in the project but excluded from recalculation, so the CAD cannot be used for inspections. However, the clipboard offers lots of flexibility because you can sort through data before assigning it to a part, and it provides significant benefits for the CAD import, such as fast import thanks to a preview tessellation, as well as extensive editing functionalities. In the clipboard, you can delete CAD bodies you don't need before creating a new part, or just choose the elements you want to add to the part. Select them and drag them onto new part. Because the software recognizes the file as a CAD file, it opens the dialog Define CAD Parameters. Here you can change the triangulation parameters if necessary. Then click OK to import the CAD. You'll find the CAD data under your part, which you can rename either by clicking the right mouse button and selecting Rename Element, or by using the keyboard shortcut F2. And here's the CAD with the original name in brackets. On a side note, you can still edit your CAD data even if it belongs to a part. Just click the pencil to open the Edit CAD mode. Here, you can delete CAD bodies, add them as a fixture, move them to another part, or back to the clipboard. ZEISS INSPECT Optical 3D actually allows you to inspect multiple parts in one project and even create digital assembly situations. If you want to know more about digital assembly, check out the training center. New part imports the CAD data and creates a part in the Explorer. Parts are important because the software groups all the elements belonging together under one part. Please note that data you import must belong to a part if you want to use it for inspections. Next, let's add actual data to the part. Drag and drop the mesh into your project. In this case, we want to add the mesh to the existing part. As you can see, the software added the mesh to the part and marks it with a green icon. Now let's briefly talk about color codes in the software. Nominal elements always have a blue icon, actual elements always have a green one. Here's a tip that could save you lots of time in the future. If you created a project with all your inspections and had to apply them to another mesh, you could simply import the new mesh and select Replace in Part. Then you could recalculate the entire project and report and get your results within minutes. Pretty cool, right? Please note that this feature is only available with a Pro license. Just so you know, you can also import and polygonize point clouds, say data from a third-party laser scanner, for example. However, if you're working with a T-Scan Hawk, or T-Scan Hawk 2 for example, that's not necessary, of course. Now that you have data in your project, you can start with your inspections. Want to find out more? Then check out the video How to Perform Simple Inspections in ZEISS INSPECT Optical 3D. And for more comprehensive training, check out the Inspect Optical 3D Basic e-learning. You'll find the link in the description below.